no we ya who say trip no say that here if Israel nearby West Africa if you West Africa and you call northern hemisphere you don't call e me na so say san ye chidia asa be pie wo this time you prepare land be am for easy access.
Okay.
From here no yes I go back.
Okay.
Wow. It's as simple as that. When Wamu Liberia no, the same Wamu free America May, June, and a 6-day war.
Okay.
BC war. Israel, any or more Arab neighbors. Because now I have battle for Jerusalem. If you say from 1948, the state of Israel was created, you know. Now, Wamu holiest shrine had been denied them.
Okay.
If it's all map, we saw the map of Jerusalem. I shall. This thing part of old Jerusalem. All the religious relics. It was shrines and yabeba. Me church movie and so on. So they had a war. Now, Emra can say the state of Israel created 48 Arab for years. Israel for western part of old city of Jerusalem.
Okay.
But no denied the eastern part. Wailing Wall, Temple Mount, and then some places in our eastern part. Then no. Nashe Jordan for us.
Okay.
And you know, one more here, Jews for no, but they never had access to the Wailing Wall.
Yes.
After the map, which is
okay.
Old city.
Old city map. Of a poku dankwa mu echebe ne pese wo hwe bi na afi oka wate ase apue mu fan de no na wo ho no ewo mebenkum so hei ana atai fam so de na wo minifa so ha no ti se de wono tv ni kuru no ana atwa go saa no ne go bibiri no ti afi wo be chichim na watumi ate ase ye over
enti ekoba say o my denied of their holiest shrine.
Yes.
It's in that time be an opportunity being right. Now for the other side no so can. Omo no adwenu no. Into the by and say 5th to 11th June 67 in a 6-day war you break here. Now Israel for you smart. Of all the Arab nations, you know, Egypt are more powerful air force.
Okay.
Into the Omo ground low. All aircrafts being in
Egypt for
Israel for saying in it did not my handicap. Now say ground combat and it the air no is relief for the Kremu and Omuno. It will be a say 2 gumwa, yeah, 2 gumti. Momo ground combat no. It the war no 6-day war no end no. Now Israel Omo I expanded Omo territory. Oma the Golan Heights, Oma the West Bank, Oma the Gaza Strip,
yes,
and Oma the East Arab Jerusalem.
Okay.
Oma the Henina. To Abuji is almost a unified capital of Israel.
Okay.
1980, and Israeli Knesset, Oma Parliament, you know, affirm say, in fact, is their undivided city of the world. Enti nantokwano no. It was indeed a battle for Jerusalem. Zani akano tension ni yankenga we ni amrenti. Na we the obekai we ni a blow to blow account.
Okay, 6-day war. Okay. I say the 6-day war of 1967 was a sweeping victory for the Israelites. They overran the enemies, gaining control of the Sinai Peninsula and the city of Jerusalem, which is sacred to both Muslims and Jews. Timeline of the 6-day war. June 5th, day 1. Israel destroys most of the Egyptian air force. Jordan, Syria, and Iraq attack Israel. June 6th, day 2. Fighting continues on all fronts. June 7th, day 3. Jerusalem taken. Blockade of Straits of Tyran broken. June 8, day 4, Israel consolidates hold on West Bank. June 9th, that is day 5. Israel and Syria in heavy fighting on the Golan. June 10th, day 6. June 10th, day 6. Israel gains control of the Golden Heights. Just 6 days.
6 days. No, but the most important to know was the battle for Jerusalem.
Say it was a strategic war.
So, into almost GVA, I can say a woman. Sabrina, Israeli defense minister. Nene Abako or Yusuf Pajit I.
Okay. Akata one. That's a friend.
Yeah, friend Moshi there.
Yes, Akata one.
Nene Abako. Yes. In the course of almost struggle, Yana, glass be boy and a cold war, and the man and Nina Bako say. Oh, no, you minister for defense. And the Mra, almost Jerusalem. Omuko o city on mo ko fa Temple Mount and afro be pie wailing war na otro krata bi ko manyankopon e say omdi ko share so obo no che say uko wailing war no ho a nsama apesa o kan we na dia ko share no che say
abo mos
why o pa bo no na dia ko ya hear video na to so mi ni
ye kwa ko share your second video yeah Jerusalem 1967 the 6-day war and the Baba share home for Nikakra. Na meka will say, and they Adiaba Qua Abadjaso, I make come for the amount sign a video nabanon, a quantum spectacle. I ne, I wish I make come for the amount. I should know about Qua, a Dada Camu, we are a shen rubber moon. Now I sound so a war, a yape, dear, she me fair far, and no serve any more. Ya creature, and Goma Cacreb, shall one better or come for soa, Ubede Sa, he knew we be Dijuma. Now answer on Sabbath County, and my Mimbu Mukakra and Famon. I knew away, I knew a beer, I wish I near and a dorsal pan. Sakobase bia yo bia wani enhu ade ni fradia eno nya hwenu we adwuma nemo se bia wani no timi se ana so hyehyew ase kuro wani so ade na wa kira huni ye ben so huni ye wani so abisi sometimes wani no hwa kakra na wani atosa ebu abo sa ase wansana bi ase moa bi bogya bi na wani so sa wani no help pa bomodi ase on sabe tibaka sa continuous spectacle we bi we spectacle so hwa enam aduro wo munti no eye wani ni so adwuma indi se kuro bi wo wani so ana se how bi wo wani so a more na wo share space more na space na wani so adwuma de ma wo ti bo so ba hye beduru ba bi no afi space we wo nhye biom wo be yi ato na sabre no wani na ai krogen ti se de ya wo foforo no be hu bibi kama enti bo modin ase on sabe ti aka sa spectacle we bi e Israeli consort and the spectacle we aba edwa so na ba ko eka ho nie ye be hye adwuma di ase no for Israel kan bibi o se sa G5 network yi enche ebidu abibremi ha na agenta ha ye mobile phones ni ade nyina no G5 fra na ebe ye adwuma na radiation so ano oden pa edie phones no se hye ase ase be protect no afi ye no so ye di mfidi awodo ye adwuma radiation na mu nyina no se e bo ho ban to se ye man se tumi kasa quantum radiation protector ibi we se on saka bra de tare mobile phone achi ana so de tare ye mfidi bi ya radiation am ho a e reduce radiation kra se de be ya enya effect bi awo so nyesa phone ta wa so na mu ta wa so na mu ne be wi ase no betimi no kokram kra to trim no wadwene ti bomoden ama nsan tumi ka quantum radiation protector ana fa quantum spectacle ni bi we siesi wani no na we so e body padua no ho ban pa obe phrase consult awo 0244 686557 0244 686557 and I said 0207 782 482 0207 782 yanko na yanko share ye second video Jerusalem 1967 no emra yeba enema do aka no yeba ho dawro amawo.
Shelling of Jerusalem and Netanya by the Jordanian Arab Legion, Uzi Narkis, the commander of the central region, receives the order to attack and bring the enemy fire to a halt. The Harel Brigade is prepared to break through from the north, while the Paratroop Brigade is ready to capture the Old City and the Jordanian area surrounding it. Heavy fighting breaks out on Ammunition Hill, in the fortified trenches, and at the police academy. Motagur's paratroopers break through to the Old City. the victorious heroes enter through the gates of the old city of Jerusalem and arrive at the western wall filled with jubilation.
Right, enti said the abusua ya kan no na ede ehho video a kire edi adanse se ampa yetubira na ya kire esie enti Jerusalem 1967 no war I call so the 6-day war no ana ehwe ho emfoyini no of our hide menkasa pi
enti free sabra Israelis can say Jerusalem your mudia and they be Arab wo dem play that ama American president sir omo ho nyina na obi aba ne term no oba bebruka peace Middle East peace omni Arab fo ni kushia eya we do be because see Palestinian state in je ba be create
sir
Palestinian fo enso say omo so di Jerusalem be omo capital Israel fo enso say undivided capital omo kan we no ma be kan we yan hwe the Trump nkan ho
okay
a free Trump also ba be kasa a free Clinton so ABC Obama
yes
intie de omu nyina kan fa Jerusalem
right answer kwa kotie de omo ekan no na me koso aka wo say udru Israel consult so a eye Bible no tire kronkron no the scriptures no original Bible no ebi aba na de edi kan say on saka Bible bi a ye san ewo enwoma kuma bi wo de kan ho a atroya ho do bi e mu a ye ntiase no ni nyina no ye de mu nchire mu ka ho de ma wo nti on saka Bible ni bi a wo ne supplementary wo ho a eno so church show eye atwede e wo mu ahodo a on tiase bi nyina bomoden so Fraser consult mo am pe Bible na to ni nyina no 0207 782 482 0207 782 482 and 0244 686557 ofra onsa ebeka bi na mo kai say number na da so isi 0200421728 de text messages and you can kind de emamo yanko ha second video ya to din say president saying Israel's capital is Jerusalem yanko esa video no emra. Right, I was say mo fanche nanka ye hwa ase betumi abo na mo tie de America man panifo Clinton de okan ye Bush de okan ye ana face so ye de wo nyina kekan nanka ye hwe but em say amasa momodin ase mo de ebe cheye na yenko ofa ho na yento
so I hear the next video because Donald Trump buy and obe samu up
okay
and shishaya ni ashishaya gu ho past presidents no o mo nya kukudu anye no de obaye
right. Yanko next video ya to din say President Trump in a statement on Jerusalem. A man penny for do na amobek kan de omekekan she ni nyina no mo yankodura yan Trump de okan no yanko na yanko hwe no emretia.
Office, I promised to look at the world's challenges with open eyes and very fresh thinking. We cannot solve our problems by making the same failed assumptions and repeating the same failed strategies of the past. Old challenges demand new approaches. My announcement today marks the beginning of a new approach to conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. In 1995, Congress adopted the Jerusalem Embassy Act, urging the federal government to relocate the American embassy to Jerusalem and to recognize that that city, and so importantly, is Israel's capital. This act passed Congress by an overwhelming bipartisan majority and was reaffirmed by a unanimous vote of the Senate only 6 months ago. Yet for over 20 years, every previous American president has exercised the law's waiver, refusing to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem or to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital city. Presidents issued these waivers under the belief that delaying the recognition of Jerusalem would advance the cause of peace. Some say they lacked courage, but they made their best judgments based on facts as they understood them at the time. Nevertheless, the record is in. After more than 2 decades of waivers, we are no closer to a lasting peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. It would be folly to assume that repeating the exact same formula would now produce a different or better result. Therefore, I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering. I've judged this course of action to be in the best interests of the United States of America and the pursuit of peace between Israel and the Palestinians. This is a long overdue step to advance the peace process and to work towards a lasting agreement. Israel is a sovereign nation with the right, like every other sovereign nation, to determine its own capital. Acknowledging this is a fact is a necessary condition for achieving peace.
Ova, I was saying about nom de abeyan to abobosha wuntumi nye ono de waba wabeyo to agina so declare say Jerusalem no Israel for hinkro na wahwe so say asumdie ewo Palestinians na fe ye Israel for no so entem Trump nsem no mabona tofa
na wenu nyina ko so Jerusalem ye ku ye atwe no ade a wo mu a ayira wo mo wiase nyina ne say Jerusalem and Kambomu, about one city, no, one of the prerequisite requirements, and Sana Yankupuan in the Bebasa,
okay.
Just a Jerusalem, about one city.
Okay.
Zechariah 14.
For Zechariah
14. 1 to 4, 7, 9 to 11.
Zechariah. Sofenia mumna mibia membra machi Amos ya try Amos from Sofenia ya baba Haggai ahani aba Zechariah 14
1 to 4 7 9 and 11
1 to 4 Zechariah 14 1 to 4 see behold the day of the Lord come and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. Okay. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled. Okay, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. Verse 4. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem and on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and towards the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. Near about verse 7. But it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And then verse number 9. And the Lord shall be king all the earth over, and the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. Verse 10, all the land shall be turned as a plain from Gibeah to Rimmon south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up and rehabited in her place. From Benjamin's gate unto the palace, unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hanel unto the king's wine presses. Verse 11, and men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited.
Prerequisite requirement. And in Tokwa Amoku 6-day war, and in Neka Kahono. Now it was prophecy in fulfillment, because you are setting in motion the establishment of the kingdom of Yah on earth. Omo tu anamo fi America. Omo aba do Liberia. Yeah, beto aso. E di aba promise land. The process in there, it has been set in motion.
Yes.
E di niama ebesisi akwan e say mutretene. E ma bibia akotote no. E de guni kwan so a eko. Then so na me say wiase nim we nti no. Yeso omo kun Jerusalem that day abeye intifada, suicide bombing. Moja hwegu ahodo akoso ho. Enipa kuma ahodo akoso. Gay pride nyina ya ye bi Jerusalem. How do you say? Eniana. E dia no ye
aprapra kwam.
E dia aprapra kwam. Nemo. Ya be creating new Jerusalem. Obi the text message we ba so person me nchechire mu. Ye be duru ho. Enya nuru ho nje on ye on hu.
Onta muchuku.
From Fanko. Science na yawo. Me de manu e ba be sino. Last year ye ba be kan ho be ma mre kakra.
Okay.
2nd April 1968. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Ono so ba bontin so ohun se Benjamin mo fi America, o mo fi O'Hare International Airport, Chicago. O ma be pie Liberia. O mu nyanu Promised Land,
yes.
But onu so mo bedu. Enti oba ye no 2nd I want Memphis, Tennessee hotel bi no. And after call address na sorry.
Okay.
And now some confubia or more on some of Coca and he said, what did he has been to the mountain top? Who the promised land.
Okay.
Now the near who the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Okay.
Even though he may not be able to go to the promised land with those people no more. Obe can say speak to me. Obe kan ye no se na ni refi ni hu se ni yo. And I FBI for susu say akwa yi ofiti the profile of the black Messiah and the bakuni.
Na 10
48 hours no and they done in summer. Obe summer. Kunu ya. Nti ono ni video no and they di twa to ne.
Okay. And Santa na Benjamin so na mase ho.
On na so on there. Na nyama we di ani mu proper mu and baby. Okay. Baby. Martin Luther.
Yanko share your next video, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Mountain Top Freedom Speech. Yanko share mradansa na meka wo say abusia say o sehwi bekwai. Mo fa nche be wo asante bekwai. Mo fa nche be pa wo asante bekwai. Ene ne patam ba bia na eye Israel Productive Eba Center. One more mudi Odinga ene ndro ahodo ba bia so pendro ni bia ta. Obefre ba ma test e wo 0545 490 769 mishisu biem mo asante bekwai ene ne patamu nyina ba anwan kwanta oboase junction ne de keka ho nyina no mo pe Odinga millennium ndu ahodo ni nyina bi ato mema ntitru Odinga ndi hia me paa ho cause mema no ye haw mo pe bi ato mo frema mates e 0545 490 769 for the last time 0545 490 769 mama test jo so a odi how odada yakọ here next video no emra Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Mountain Top Freedom Speech.
Is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
When you now cry on the chrono, and all can do baby no, or say I'm fan ho. I become said on one so career within specific hours, but best some I said an avocado. And I was just said an offer cano, and I have video in their support no, or saying Yame Edinanim, and the now call a yebe poso. Now, being any amanahu, a bush assassin. Say, Yamian Munyamua, I also. A be on dear, on Kahubi on Marco. Nelson, who, dear Oho. Career no chrono. And I'm pa, okay, no. Don't hear you and I'm watching them. Why you ghost? About to also my
where do we now with the idea kind of church or say, your cousin Yankupo, he need an abba. The process and namswa. Prophecy, scripture, and also I can't, yeah. Yam and a better way, and your deco. It is all your Christian Nina can Yamia Hini no bar. Oh, I'm wrong road. Never talk again.
Okay.
Baby, I won't know and find your make one who cry. Who can't a cool noir, air kutia or body, and a vicinity.
Okay.
Christianity, any all the religions in the world, you know. Satan, and what create a mom of freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom of that. One master plan with different names.
Okay.
That is all that there is to it. Because Obadi and Shedanka, baby, that say, who create religion, may we say. Righteousness is all a nation.
Okay.
Yo, Obadi can be ano. Memra, and I do betray Anamon. Now the two Anamon so when him a baby, Amoako, when him toti. And any part of religion, Abaho, yet the GDN say. Yet the GDN say, yet the GDN say, it is how GDN no BGDN Yabia.
Nigga them.
It is religion. A man nipa air fighting over gods. Enka nipa pe mua. We find righteous path maybe enka we are seeing no we will fight for God. So righteous and as a righteous people no they fight for God. Religious men, they fight over gods.
Okay.
Because we are in God, and there are as many gods as there are different religions in this world. Process no amanya nkopon ahini na ban. Die animu ebe prapra kwa mu ni. Next week oba de ya adoma ene ebehwe omu free Liberia no omu kodu Israel no e die ni see.
Okay.
Anwesi
nyame